Sherwin, you are crazy.
Sherwin, your impression of me is horrible. Move. Give me my mic. I guess I'll just repeat what Sherwin said. Go to the Google Play Store or Apple Store to download the 1017 The Truth app today so you can take the home of Milwaukee Black Talk with you wherever you are.
Can't listen live? Download the new 1017 The Truth app on your smartphone today to catch up on all your favorite shows. Search 1017 The Truth on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store so you don't miss out on any of the action.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by Fidelity Wealth Management. Earn Your Leisure, co-founded by Rashad Bilal and Troy Millings, is a multimedia platform designed to help educate people about the world of business and finance. The pair have podcasts, do live events, and recently released a book, You Deserve to Be Rich. Master the inner game of wealth and claim your future. It was inspired by some of the interactions that Bilal and Millings have had with young people of color and the types of questions they ask.
We wanted to create an encyclopedia of sorts where you can get A to Z journey, and it walks you through from credit to real estate to stocks, but it's done in story format. It follows fictitious characters. So it really is a personal finance journey for anybody, anywhere.
Co-founder Rashad Bilal on Bloomberg. The New York Times bestselling book is one of many ways Bilal and Millings are trying to reach people of color and share their knowledge. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Whole city lock in. Sherwin speak facts, let the real talk begin. Mind like a weapon, every word cut clean. Your host, favorite host, the mic God supreme. No one match the brain, no one match the vibe. Milwaukee truth teller, yeah, we feel that pride. When the people need sense, he the one they call. Sherwin Hughes on the line, that's power, y'all. He the voice of the people, heart of the town. Every take heavy, he ain't messing around. No fluff, no gimmicks, no tap dance show. He dropped 10 years game in a 4-minute flow. Got the city on his mind and the truth on his tongue. He break it all down like he wrote it when it begun. You hear the knowledge, man, it's deeper than degrees. He got councilmen, judges, and mayors on their knees, asking for the wisdom that they can't obtain. Sherwin's brain got more range than a freight train. No script, just soul, intellect, and fire. He don't chase clout, he the one that known. Whole city lock in. Sherwin speak facts, let the real talk begin. Mind like a weapon, every word cut clean. Your host's favorite host, the mic God supreme. No one match the brain, no one match the vibe. Milwaukee truth teller, yeah, we feel that pride. When the people need sense, he the one they call. Sherwin Hughes on the line, that's power, y'all. He know the system, he read the code. He dissect policies while the rest implode. While they yell for clicks, he build a bridge. He ain't talking hype, he talking how we live. Pulling receipts like a G with the facts. History, politics, race, he handle all that. From Sherman Park to City Hall floors, he done educated minds behind every closed door. He the light in the static, the spark in the noise. Every minute, every line, deliberate poise. No cap, no stumble, just lyrical command. He the real last man with a mic in his 9 to noon, whole city locked in. Sherwin speak facts, let the real talk begin. Mind like a weapon, every word cut clean. Your host's favorite host, the mic God supreme. No one match the brain, no one match the vibe. Milwaukee truth teller, yeah, we feel that pride. When the people need sense, he the one they call. Sherwin who's on the line, that's power, y'all. He don't chase headlines, he make them think. He be sipping true slow while they drown in the ink. Every bar hold weight, every pause got power. Sherwin hold court like a judge in the tower. Electors come quiet, he speak with clarity. They seek his insight like he hold prosperity. Can't fake real, and Sherwin is proof. While they play for likes, he deliver the truth. Legacy talking, he already there. Milwaukee's voice with a national stare. Ain't a host on the dial that can even compare. When Sherwin Hughes talk, the whole city aware. From 9 to noon, whole city locked in. Sherwin speak facts, let the real talk begin. Mind like a weapon, every word cut clean. Your host's favorite host, the mic God supreme. No one match the brain, no one match the vibe. Milwaukee truth teller, yeah, we feel that pride. When the people need sense, he the one they call. Sherwin Hughes on the line, that's power, y'all.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Friday, May 16th, 2025. So if you listened yesterday, you'll know that I am playing around with some new computer technology, and I decided to use artificial intelligence to see if it could come up with an intro song for my show. And so what you heard just now was the second song that was produced by artificial intelligence. And here's the thing. Oh, look at that. The bomb is dropped. Boom. Oh. Look at the crowd here at the 3rd Street Market Hall going crazy. I don't think that I'm going to use my old intro anymore. And that was a tough decision for me to come to, because I put my heart and my soul into my old intro. Ricky is giving me a thumbs down. I'm curious as to why that is. That's the old way, Ricky. That was all old stuff and old interviews. I'm in a whole new era right now. I'm exploring new topics and new ideas. Like, a lot of that stuff was from previous radio jobs at different stations. Some stations where I did some of those interviews that were a part of my original intro aren't even in business anymore. It's outdated. You don't think so?
It's still, it's like a staple in your career, where when you hear all the people that you interviewed and talk to, like, you talked to Fred of the Black Panther family. Come on now.
I did.
That's powerful.
But it also was a long time ago. And I have to get used to change, because I think as I get older, I tend to be more resistant to change. And when something changes, and that's one thing that is guaranteed, stuff is going to change whether you like it or not, and you have to get with the times. And I don't want to be someone who is so stuck on nostalgia that I can't embrace new things. And I want to be able to embrace what's new, but then also use these technologies that are available in hopes that more people that listen to this program will also exploit some of those technologies. I went into this long soliloquy yesterday, and I'll probably go into another long one today, about what is the great equalizer for African Americans. Like, what are we, expecting the government to do? What are we expecting businesses to do? They tried, DEI, they tried to focus on supporting black businesses. That didn't work. We've always had the reparations argument, the debate about how much money is owed to African Americans. That probably is not going to happen. Or if it does happen, we've pushed it back another 50 or so years because Donald Trump being in office has put in all sorts of priorities that are different than we are. What if the great equalizer is something that is right under our noses and something that is right at our fingertips? Maybe it is the manipulation and the early adoption of technology. One thing that I know African Americans are is that we are incredibly creative. If you give us just a little bit, we will make a lot out of it. Barack Obama is an example for so many things because 150 years prior to, African Americans would have been sold on an auction block. We weren't even reading. We didn't have schools. We couldn't own homes. We were second-class citizens. And then in the short span, and 150 years may seem like a long time to you all, that's 2 lifetimes. In 2 lifetimes, literally, we went from not being human to being the most powerful person on planet Earth who had the nuclear codes. Barack Obama could have said, you know what, good, I'm president now. Let's destroy the entire world because of what colonization has done to black people. He didn't. I think he led admirably. And I also believe that the country would understand that black people can be just as patriotic, just as American, and want to help people and help this country just like anybody else. Unfortunately, that was not the case because we got a backlash from Barack Obama, which was, in fact, Donald Trump. I said all that to say this. If you just give us a little bit of opportunity, we can exploit it for our betterment and the betterment of our community. And what if this great equalizer, if we're even going to use that term equal, I know I have a bit of a problem with the term equal because I was asking yesterday and I don't think I got a sufficient answer. Who are we trying to be equal to? Because if you set your goals high and you point to someone who's got a lot of money and has a lot of influence and access and success, they're probably very corrupt. And do you want to be equal to them? If you look at some of the richest people in the world, they certainly are corrupt. Do we want to be equal to them? Equal to what? I'm more concerned about people having an advantage. Don't we need an advantage as black people because we have been behind for so long? Being equal puts us at 0. We need to be at least +5 or +10. Now, we cannot rely on the people nor the systems that created and are trying to maintain the disparities that we still have. We can't rely on them to catch us up. This is going to have to be an endeavor on us, and that's a real difficult conversation to have because we oftentimes, we outsource our help. Like we need people to help us instead of us looking inward and looking at what opportunities we have right beneath our feet. We're expecting somebody else to come and help us. We're expecting these elected officials to fix what's wrong in our community. We're expecting money and grants and financial assistance from the very people that do not want us to be even with them. So I want to see if there are things that we have at our fingertips and at our disposal that will help us rise above the situations that we are in. So I'm also doing things now with AI where I'm testing its racial bias because I saw this Netflix documentary and a lot of you saw it as well because when I saw it, I was so shook by it that I did a whole radio show based on what was in this documentary. It's called Coded. I think it's Coded. I might be messing the name up, but it's about the people that are involved in programming artificial intelligence. And this goes back to probably 2021 or 2022. The programming of AI has gotten even more sophisticated since then. So this is about 4 years ago. Coded, I think, is the name of the documentary. Somebody look it up on the Google. It's Coded or Coded something. And it says that the racial bias of the people who are programming and coding for AI, their individual racial biases is being built into artificial intelligence. So even if we are trying to escape racial bias with technology, it's built into the technology. And some of the examples that were in that documentary were because the white men who were prominent in programming some of this relatively early yet sophisticated AI, didn't program AI to see the nuances and the differences between black people's faces. And so you would have a lot of facial recognition software used in cameras, et cetera, that would misidentify African Americans. And that's a problem, because if the black person is wanted because they committed a crime, this artificial intelligence that wasn't programmed or tuned to determine the nuances between African Americans' facial features and facial structures, the wrong person could be named as a suspect in a crime. Then there was another example that they gave in this, and this is why I was really, really concerned about artificial intelligence having racial bias. You guys, you use the restroom, and then sometimes there'll be these automatic water faucets when you wash your hands in some public restrooms, where you wave your hand underneath a sensor and that turns on the water. If you are a darker skinned person, have you ever noticed that sometimes you have to wave your hand several times underneath that faucet because the sensor isn't working, or it doesn't pick up your hand motion? Or with those automatic hand dryers, if you're a darker skinned person and you wave your hands underneath those automatic hand dryers, sometimes you got to do it a couple of times for it to turn on, or it doesn't turn on at all. Here's what I come to find out, and this was featured in the documentary, because the people that programmed, and that's like real basic, primitive artificial intelligence, like a sensor detecting someone's hand in front of a faucet or an electric hand dryer. They didn't program those sensors to pick up dark skin, because the people that created that technology think that black and brown people don't wash their hands. So those sensors only pick up our palms. So if you use the back of your hand, and now the sensors, of course, since I think that documentary came out, they have been improved and upgraded. But just think about that little nuance and that racial bias built into something as innocuous as a damn sensor that can turn on a water faucet or a hand dryer in a public restroom. And so I'm cognizant of racial bias in artificial intelligence. So I asked ChatGPT a question this morning to see what it would come up with. It was a very racist question, but I can do that because I'm doing research. I have a problem with something. And I can say this because I'm black. White people, if you want to repeat what I'm saying, do so at your own risk. I don't like when in African-American neighborhoods, which I live in one, which I'm a homeowner in one and have been for over 20 years, we don't cut our grass. We don't mow our lawns. And personally to me, now, as a homeowner, the presentation of my house is not just about how I want people to see my property when they come over or when they drive past. Even the Amazon man, when he drops off packages, or the food delivery person from DoorDash, I take pride in how my house looks from the outside. So I cut my grass. Plus, I don't mind cutting the grass. I get out there and collect my thoughts, make sure I keep my lines straight. And then when the grass is cut, your yard looks so much better. But I come to find out, especially my damn neighbors, they don't cut their grass. To me, an unkept yard is worse than all the trash that we see on the ground, especially after the winter. And so I put something on my the Facebook group Hughes Views, which is the Facebook group that corresponds to this show, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And I asked people, I'm like, yo, I said, cut your grass. And all these people are like, oh no, Sherwin, it's no mow May. I'm like, no. That's white people stuff, environmental stuff, because white people love bees, and I guess you're not supposed to cut your grass in May because the bees need the pollen. I'm talking about people that don't cut their grass in May, in June, and in July. And so I went to ChatGPT to see if my racial theory would be met by the stereotype that I have of black people that live in low-income neighborhoods not cutting their grass. And I put in something like, hey, ChatGPT, how come low-income black people or in black neighborhoods, they don't cut their grass? And the response was, that was a terrible stereotype, and that is a horrible thing to say. It like chastised me. But then it said, let's analyze this very carefully. Sometimes people of any race can be renters, and a lot of times renters don't have, lawn mowers and trimmers and that kind of stuff. So ChatGPT, when I gave it a softball to be racist, it's like, no, that's a stereotype. It literally chastised me. So maybe we are making some progress. If we're making progress in some area, you always have to keep in mind we're regressing in others. And I've got a story here about a bit of our regression and a situation that happened at City Hall yesterday, which I'm very thankful, or at the municipal building, so right next door to City Hall. I'm very thankful that turned out to be a false alarm. There was an evacuation at the Zeidler Municipal Building because there was a report of shots fired. I know a lot of people that work for the city of Milwaukee, some of my very, very good friends and even former colleagues from when I worked at the city of Milwaukee. So when I heard this or I saw this posting on either on one of our local news websites or on social media, I was alarmed. We don't need political violence because I think that if somebody is shooting at a government building, whether it has anything to do with Democrats or Republicans or Trump or anything else, violence in government buildings and around government buildings is on the upswing. And I want to talk about the reaction to, it was a false alarm, we come to find out, but the reaction to political violence and the fact that it is becoming more common in this country. And it's not just the January 6th stuff. Political violence is now a language that is being spoken by the left as well. So we want to talk about that on today's program because that's one thing that America does understand. We understand violence. If there is a violent situation or occurrence, that's when we all get active. That is when people stand up and they protest. The kids March for Our Lives or whatever the name of their organization was because they're tired of this, these unchecked gun laws and the school shootings. Whenever there's violence, America stands up and responds. I just don't want violence to be the official language of America. We're going to talk about that and many other things on today's program. If you'd like to chime in, you're welcome to do so. Our phone number is 833-212-1017. You can also find us on YouTube by searching 1017 The Truth. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year in 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It started with a report of shots fired. It appeared to be ending with a report of a door being slammed. Several Milwaukee Police Department vehicles, including an armored vehicle, could be spotted outside of Milwaukee City Hall complex yesterday afternoon. Here's the part that I don't get. Are we just so on edge, or are people in public, especially government officials and people that work in government buildings, so incredibly on edge because of the anxious times that we are living in that a door slamming is mistaken as a gunshot? They sound real different, number one. And here's the thing. I'm not blaming anybody for overreacting to that situation because I'd rather somebody overreact than underreact. But the door was slammed once, apparently. The door wasn't slammed and then opened and slammed and slammed. Gunshots, more often than not, just based upon previous public shootings and mass shootings, there's usually more than one shot. And the other thing is, wouldn't somebody see a gunman and scream? Right? You can't just assume it's a gunshot because you hear a single loud noise. Do you guys remember when you were in school and the loudest noise that you could make in school? And that really did legitimately sound like a gunshot. Fortunately for me and for those of my generation, there was no school shootings. Kids weren't shooting each other in school. Now, you'd get your ass kicked on the playground after school, but we didn't have to worry about school shootings. But when somebody dropped a book on the floor in a classroom, man, did that make the loudest noise ever. But if there's going to be an actual shooting, you're going to hear screaming, yelling, all of those things associated with someone pulling out a firearm in public. If a door was slammed closed, you wouldn't have gotten any of that other evidence that there was a shooter in that building. The officers were focused on the Frank P. Zeidler Municipal Building, 841 North Broadway. So those of you that vote early in our elections and you go to City Hall to vote, the Zeidler Building is where people go and vote. And so those of you that may be listening who live in other parts of the states or other parts of the city of Milwaukee, the Zeidler Building is the building where people go and early vote. And like the water department is in there, and the Department of Neighborhood Services and Department of City Development are all contained in that building, the Zeidler Building, which is just to the east of Milwaukee's City Hall. A source with knowledge of the situation said the individual was terminated and proceeded to fire off shots or do something to cause a loud noise on the fourth floor stairwell near the Milwaukee Water Works offices. They got fired and they slammed the door. That's what it was. Now, I'm not diminishing this because I'd rather people be vigilant because you do got to watch out for people shooting in public. But this was a little bit of a rush to judgment, I believe. Now, we are going to talk about other incidences of political violence. I mean, let's be clear. Donald Trump escaped an assassination attempt. January 6, 2021, police officers were injured and were killed, and that situation could have been made a whole lot worse. And I've got some other information about political violence, not just coming from the right and the Republican, the conservative, evangelical side of the spectrum. There's political violence on the left, too. So we have to be mindful of these things, but we can't hear a loud noise that's a door slamming, and now you have this gigantic police presence, and now they're evacuating offices in downtown Milwaukee and at City Hall. And then the other part is you now have elected officials that are saying, we need metal detectors and we need security. We need all of those things. We need taxpayer dollars for that. Now, I'm not in their position. I'm not an elected official. I do know that they get their fair share of angry telephone calls and emails from constituents, but I don't see the city of Milwaukee as a place that threatens our elected officials like we have seen in other places. Some years ago, there was a plot by some conservatives to assassinate the former governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. We have seen a number of vigilantes and folks that adhere to these weird manifestos, usually conservatives, wanting to blow up government buildings, and we've seen all of the people that wanted to. They create these hit lists where Eric Holder and Hillary Clinton and a bunch of Nancy Pelosi has been on these hit lists of some of these really, really crazy people. I don't think that we have that culture here in the city of Milwaukee. We get mad at our elected officials, but I don't know if it gets to a point where someone is physically threatening their lives. And the other thing is this: half of our common council is African American. We are not typically, and I can't speak for all black folks, but typically we are not ones that want to kill our elected officials. We want to kill other people in the community that we don't get along with. But it's not like we're a bunch of black folks wanting to kill Mayor Cavalier Johnson. Plus, he's a nice guy. Nobody wants to kill him. Let's talk to the town. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
How you doing, sir? Hey, I just want to say something real quick, real fast. That opening right there, that opening is trash, my guy, especially compared to your old one. Really, I'm gonna tell you, your old opening, that was a hitter. That was one of the reasons why I first started listening to this. When I heard that, and I heard all the people that you talked to or whatever like that, I didn't have that knowledge before. This new stuff with the AI, you can tell it's AI.
You could not tell.
Totally devoid.
Had I not
Yes,
said anything.
Yeah.
So my producer is a DJ, and when he heard it, he said it sounded like something that was produced in the studio. However, here's the thing. That is your opinion, and you and I don't really agree on anything, so you not liking what might be my new opening actually is more encouragement for me to keep playing it. But I appreciate your opinion.
Devoid of soul. It sounds like you took all the soul out of it. It sounds like something out of what the Bucks might play.
Oh.
If they want a rappy song, you know what I'm saying? They want a rappy song or something like that, then they get something like that.
Do you have something to say on the topic?
It says it's so. Oh yeah, I'll say something on the topic. I was down there too when they did that. Down there by the City Hall, and that's cool. They should do that. And then because like you said, it should be better. It's better that you be overreactive than underreactive on that right there, and that's cool. And they'll look through it. And they'll do their little meetings or whatever like that, and then they'll get it right, and they'll probably have a better plan when stuff like this occurs, you know, because we are not like that. We is pretty cool with our elected officials. We ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to kill our elected officials like that. We in a state like that. But this one right here, I mean, that's cool. That overreaction was cool though. But that new opening, trash, my boy, trash. Totally devoid of soul. That's
all right.
my time.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you for your unnecessary opinion. He and I don't get along at all. So the fact that he doesn't like it. So the one I played today was version 2.0. I played a different one yesterday. Yesterday, that one was called Sherwin on the Mic. This one is called, now AI came up with the title now, The Mic God. I mean, that's a little arrogant, a little. But lyrically, I think it made a lot of sense. All right, I'm going to take a break, come back. Did they, in fact, overreact by evacuating the entire municipal building because someone got fired and then they slammed the door shut and people thought that was a gunshot? Is that indicative of the times where everyone is just... We're frightened, we're nervous, we're anxious because we do live in a country that speaks the language of violence, and political violence is a real thing. I worked at City Hall for a number of years, and every so often you would get an angry constituent, especially when people were paying their property taxes. Somebody would come and complain, or an older person would see somebody in the hallway in City Hall, and they may get yelled at. But I never witnessed anything that came even remotely close to threatening our city officials. If anything, people want our city officials to do more, to be more responsive, to tackle some of these issues that residents of the city of Milwaukee are dealing with every day. We don't want to kill them, because if we kill them, then what good does that do if we want them to do their jobs and do their jobs better? So take a break, come back, talk about the language of America, which is, in fact, violence. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Keep your business safe, secure, and spotless with the Omega Security Guard and Cleaning Team. Proudly located in Milwaukee and female-owned, Omega delivers professional security and tailored cleaning services to meet your needs. Whether it's event security or a custom cleaning plan, their dedicated team goes above and beyond to exceed your expectations. Because at Omega, they're not just your service provider, they're your partner in peace of mind. Contact Omega Security Guard today or online at OmegaSecurityGuard.com. Omega Security Guard and Cleaning, protecting what matters most.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Here is Ben Jammin with his truth.
Truth Nation and all the juicy jammers out there, can I be honest? Honest about what? Honest about me. Honest about following your dreams. Matthew 16, verse 26. What is it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? I didn't know what I was getting into when my mother birthed me. I never imagined walking out of a job would lead me here. Back in 2017, I was working third shift at a grocery store, hating it. I knew I had to make a change. One day I walked out. No plan, just a leap of faith. 2 months later, I got a job with V100, and it was on and popping. I met Wiz Khalifa, Jerry Springer, Ice Cube, and Charlamagne the God. But in 2020, everything changed. COVID hit, and I was furloughed. But it gave me clarity. Clarity on who I was, who my real friends were, and what I truly wanted. After 8 months, I got an opportunity with 1017 The Truth. I got the chance to speak on air, and things took off. I started as a producer, and now I'm the host of Jammin' with Juice. I've spoken with the White House, NBA All-Stars, and even killed an unreleased track with one of your favorite rappers. Through it all, I remained vulnerable with you, Truth Nation, especially after losing my dad. But here's the truth. It's not just about following your dreams. It's about preparing for them. What you want to happen is going to happen. But if you're not ready for it, you have to watch it pass you by. As a great prophet once said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So if it wasn't for the divine timing of the George Floyd assassination, the time that I took for myself to become greater, or the vision of the CEO of our company, 1017 The Truth, or myself wouldn't be here. So I call it divine timing. I can tell you to follow your dreams, but it's much better if you prepare for them.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Listen to Jammin' with Juice with Ben Jammin and Carrie Noni weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is a very violent country. I talked about the decade of the 60s a couple of days ago, where Robert Kennedy was assassinated. He was likely going to be the Democrats' nominee in 1968. I wish he would have won, but he got killed, so he couldn't win. He would have not only ended the Vietnam War, he would have prioritized racial justice, and we needed someone prioritizing racial justice in 1968. I think we would be a lot further right now had Robert Kennedy Sr. gotten elected president in 1968. Instead, we got Richard Nixon, who doubled down on racial separation and then created a whole new paradigm, a whole new strategy called the Southern Strategy, where racism in American policy had to change with the times. And if you know anything about this country, you have to know that sinister forces are going to exist, and they are going to morph right along with progress. So we'll figure out and identify a problem in America, and we'll fix it, or we'll try to fix it, or we'll have a law or a policy or an ordinance that begins to address it. And the people that are against that change, they're going to adjust as well, right? So if African Americans were now getting some civil rights, we had on-the-job protections, we had open housing, we had children that could go to different schools outside of their neighborhoods. You know, we had civil rights acts and civil rights laws. Well, those that did not want equality with African Americans, which was and is a sizable number of people in this country, well, they had to retool their strategy as well. Richard Nixon created the war on drugs and said, well, we can't just go after blacks for being black like you could in the Jim Crow days. We can go after them for small amounts of marijuana, even though even then we knew that African Americans and other races used marijuana at the exact same rate. Nixon also wanted to go after the anti-Vietnam War protesters and the hippies that were also associated with marijuana. So he's like, well, you can't just arrest people for protesting because that's their right. But if they're smoking marijuana, we can then use that and build an empire of housing people and incarcerating people as the next form of Jim Crow as a response to the civil rights legislation that we got in the 60s. Had Robert Kennedy Sr. been elected, we may not have had a war on drugs, or it would have started much later and it would have been dramatically less severe. Here's the irony of that whole thing. Robert Kennedy Jr. is insane. And he's the Health and Human Services Secretary. Like, he's literally nuts. He went swimming with his grandchildren in a river in Washington, D.C. that is closed to the public because it's got fecal matter in it. And they took pictures and put it on the internet. And it was weird because he was wearing blue jeans while he was swimming. And his shirt was off, but he was wearing jeans and a leather belt and just swimming in a contaminated river with fecal matter in it. He's a lot different than his father. We have a number of incidents of political violence in this country. And the Donald Trump assassination attempt, let me be clear, I don't agree with Donald Trump on anything. But you can't kill him. That's not fair. That's not a nice thing to do. You don't kill somebody that you disagree with. There's better ways for us to solve our problems, right? I'd like to think. Well, apparently, this tone of political violence is here. And there are some folks who may feel powerless politically, but violence is a way in which even the powerless can get a tremendous amount of attention. You guys remember the former FBI director, James Comey, who was, for a period of time, respected by both political parties. He was appointed by George W. Bush. He also served as the head of the FBI during Barack Obama's terms. And the thing about the head of the FBI is that they serve these 10-year terms because they're supposed to be above partisanship. So they serve longer than any president can. Now, a president gets to select who leads the FBI and or the Department of Justice, but they're able to serve longer than that president can. So they need to be above partisanship as they are executing the federal law and investigating high-level crimes, et cetera, et cetera. And so we had a level of respect for James Comey until a week or two before the 2016 presidential election. He went back and said, oh, no, we found more Hillary Clinton emails, and a lot of us blame him for bringing up these additional emails, which we come to find out were much to do about nothing. And some of us believe that James Comey's last-minute suggestion that Hillary Clinton had more improprietous emails may have cost her that election. Hindsight being 2020, Hillary Clinton was going to lose that election, just like Kamala Harris was going to lose that election. There was not anything that James Comey did that caused Hillary to lose that election. And I only say that because Kamala Harris was a better candidate and Kamala Harris lost to. And I'll stand on that. The people that Kamala Harris could identify with personally and socially, and the deliberate attempts for Kamala Harris to reach black people and especially black men was something that Hillary Clinton did not do. So I think that Kamala Harris overall was a much better candidate. Kamala Harris also did something that Hillary Clinton did not do. Kamala Harris paid black people. And I don't know why people got so bent out of shape. It was weird because during that campaign, we found out how much money that Kamala Harris raised in a very short period of time. Shout out to her. But if she's paying people and paying celebrities, So what? Look what Donald Trump is doing. Trump is accepting $500 million jets from state sponsors of terror if they agree to buy American computer chips. It's insanity to me. We always complain about black folks not getting any money. Kamala Harris spread that wealth just like she was supposed to. I don't care if she paid Megan Thee Stallion. I don't care if she paid Oprah. She's supposed to. That's the whole point of raising all that money. She also paid a whole bunch of black folks, too. Like regular, not rich black folks. She's a better candidate. So James Comey's introduction of those emails a week or two before the 2016 presidential election, I don't think that was the reason why Hillary Clinton lost. Hillary Clinton lost because she's Hillary Clinton. The way that Hillary Clinton showcased black people in her campaign was she went on tour with a group of black mothers and widows and other black women who had lost a man in their life or a son due to violence. And she traveled with them because that was Hillary Clinton saying, oh, wow, I can relate to you black people because black men are getting murdered. So let me make commercials and travel the country with this group of poor black women who've lost someone to either police violence or to violence in the streets. Do you know how that made us feel as black men? Invisible. We were invisible to Hillary Clinton. But I'm not entirely shocked because she did call young black men super predators. And when she said that, I was 19 years old. So she was talking about me. Kamala Harris didn't have that same approach when it came to the perception of black men. We were visible. Now, Kamala Harris married a white fella, but that's fine. Maybe Doug Emhoff can love her in a way that no black African Americans. And now George Bush was president. There's a lot going on in 2006. We were involved in the two wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the country was in a very, very different place. But James Comey gave a warning in 2006 that we did not heed. He said his agency, the FBI, was investigating some things, and they found something very shocking and alarming. And when James Comey found this shocking and alarming thing, we should have stood up and take notice, but we did not, because America sometimes needs to be hit over the damn head 50 times before we actually pay attention to something that's important. James Comey said that there was an influx of white nationalists and white supremacists, like in these organized groups. They were members and affiliate members of they're terrorist organizations, white nationalist groups and white terrorist groups, these racist groups. They are terrorist organizations, okay? He noticed that there was a number of people from those white nationalist groups infiltrating local law enforcement. So now just think, in the years following James Comey's announcement of what the FBI discovered, a lot of these white nationalist guys that are like official members of the groups, because they had the tattoos, because sometimes they get the tattoos, you see. There was an influx of them joining local law enforcement. Now just think for a moment, since 2006, how many black men, women, and children were killed by the police? And we saw a fever pitch of that kind of violence against African-American men, women, and children during the Barack Obama presidency. Now, remember, when America makes progress in one regard, we're going to regress in another. So what I noticed about the Obama presidency is I think Obama led this nation very astutely, and I think he did it with great pride and great care, but there also was a price to pay of African-American men, women, and children that were being killed by law enforcement, maybe as a response or as a pushback to the fact that they were losing their country because they had a black president. And a racist doesn't want a black president, even if they can get affordable health care from that black president. So James Comey put a warning out in 2006 that these men are joining local law enforcement. What you saw for the following years was an uptick in violence against black men coming from law enforcement. Take a break, come back, talk about this most recent thing that James Comey did that has him in a whole hell of a lot of trouble. In fact, people on the MAGA right, because they used to like James Comey too, the people on the hardcore right, because James Comey, he's a Republican. He's admitted as much. But he did something very recently, like in the last 24 or 48 hours, that has him in so much trouble, he may be arrested by federal authorities. We're going to talk about that when I come back. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be back shortly.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
Need to look sharp for graduation? You need
the $100 hookup.
Want to get decked out for prom? Get the
$100 hookup.
An incredible deal that includes a marvelous suit, shirt, and tie, all for $100. Only at Nick Avani's, home of the
$100 hookup.
And that isn't limited to some standard stock suit. You'll be pleased by the top quality and variety of fashion offered at Nick Avani's. Get hooked up today at Nick Avani's in Mayfair Mall and at nickavanis.com.
Hey there, did you hear? There are still spots open for Girl Scout Summer Camp 2025.
Whether you're into water activities, arts and crafts, sports and games, exploring nature, or even horseback riding, there's a camp just for you.
Choose from GSY's day camps, overnight camps, community day camps, or Camp Hero.
Bring a friend and get ready for a summer full of adventure, friendship, and leadership.
Register today and let's make this the best summer ever, Girl Scout style.
After an accident, don't wait to get the help you need. Call Gruber Law Offices first. There is no fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The former FBI Director James Comey, and some of you may recall when Donald Trump first got elected, one of the first meetings that Trump took in January of 2017 is he sat down with the FBI director, and James Comey took very copious notes of that meeting. This is also when I found out that people that work for the FBI, not just the director, but everybody in that organization, they are deemed as so credible that the personal notes that they take are admissible in court as fact. That is how credible we deem, well, how we used to deem people that work for the FBI. Now the FBI and the entire Department of Justice has been politicized. But Donald Trump sat down with James Comey, and James Comey thought that that was very unusual because that is not something that presidents typically did, sitting down with the FBI director. And in that meeting, and James Comey exposed this when he took his notes, that Donald Trump was seeking loyalty from him. Donald Trump wanted James Comey to pledge to him in that meeting. I think they had a lunch. It was the first major headline out of that nascent Trump administration back in 2016. Trump wanted fealty from the FBI director because Donald Trump had a series of ideas of what he wanted to do with his newfound presidency, and Trump was well aware that some of those things would have drawn attention, especially from the FBI, and Trump wanted to know what he could get away with and to see if James Comey would be on his side. And of course, James Comey played it cool and did not really give any indication anyway. Shortly thereafter, James Comey was in fact fired by Donald Trump, and we believe it was because he is the FBI director who had served under Barack Obama, and James Comey served under George Bush, but he would not pledge his undying loyalty to Donald Trump, so Trump did what Trump does, and he fired James Comey. In fact, Comey may have been the first person that Donald Trump fired in what was equivalent to a Saturday night massacre because Trump went on a firing spree. You guys remember that? When Trump would fire somebody on Twitter? I don't know what director it was. It was of some agency, and this agency director was in a meeting. They're working in the Trump administration. They were director of whatever the agency was. And they happened to be looking up at the TV at the time that they're in this meeting. And the guy found out that he got fired by seeing a headline on CNN. Like Trump hadn't told him. Nobody had called the guy to let him know that he was fired. He saw it on the little scrolling words at the bottom of a screen on CNN. That is what Donald Trump was doing. Those early days of his first term, he was seeing who he could trust because he wanted to do things that we now come to find out ran afoul of the law in the U.S. Constitution. So James Comey finds himself in a whole hell of a lot of trouble. And now keep in mind, we live in a violent nation where political violence is the language that is spoken and understood by far too many. Former FBI Director James Comey is under investigation for implying that President Donald Trump should be assassinated. There are a lot more details to this story that I'm going to get into during hour two, but here's why this makes me incredibly nervous. Intelligence is a big part of our national security. The information that our agencies can gather from other sources within the country, international sources that we have, like we need intelligence. We need to know what people are thinking, what they are doing. We as the American people need to know where our threats are coming from. They might be foreign threats. More often, they're probably domestic threats, but it is the intelligence and the information gathering that we can acquire that keeps us all safe. Now, there's government overreach in that too, and I need you to know that the Patriot Act was not necessarily about preventing hijackers from coming to the United States and taking 4 planes and crashing them into buildings, etc. The Patriot Act gives the federal government more power to spy on us. More power to get the text message and phone records that several cell phone companies admitted a bunch of years ago. They admitted that the government asked for all of our cell phone records, and those corporations turned those records over to the U.S. government. Not to mention all of the additional information that they have because Elon Musk was rummaging through our private information, and also the apps that we use in Facebook and all the social media. So there's a dossier literally on each and every American, because what George Bush realized and what the Republicans realized at the time is that the American people are much more likely to be terrorists than a foreign threat. So I'm going to pause here, come back and talk about James Comey might know things about Donald Trump that we don't, and maybe that's why he's calling for his assassination. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth's Black Business Give Back Spotlight this Friday at 3:57 p.m. between The Tory Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be joined by India Guster, owner of Royal Street MKE. We'll discuss their freshly remodeled business, her journey as an entrepreneur, and, of course, the delicious food and signature drinks all first-timers have to try. Again, that's the Black Business Give Back Spotlight with Royal Street MKE this Friday at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
It started with a prediction.
Gonna go out there and play basketball and win. And how many games? 6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Grammy Award winner John Legend.
Knowing that fight isn't over, knowing that we've got to stay motivated and stay inspired. Glory was a song that myself and Common wrote. 2 brothers from the Midwest, from Chicago and from Springfield, Ohio.
Oscar Award winning actor Don Cheadle.
I know that we're the bright, shiny thing that sometimes gets the attention, but I would say don't listen to celebrities. You don't have to listen to us. Listen to yourself.
And President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr.
When did we have a strong economy? And I don't think anyone with a straight face can say right now. And the reality, when you look at it, it's not even voting for my father. Look at the team that's now surrounding him.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So James Comey is in a lot of hot water. I don't know if he has been taken into custody yet, but that is a conversation that is happening, and who knows with this administration how seriously they're going to take a threat from the former FBI director. And the threat is cryptic. Let me first say that. But here's the thing. The dude is the former director of the FBI, and he knows that even if he does something that is cryptic, it's got really big meaning. Here's why I'm concerned. I got a bunch of concerns about this. You may hear me vehemently disagree with Donald Trump and the direction he is taking this country and how much time, effort, and energy, and quite honestly, money it is going to take to put us back to whatever normalcy is, even though we all know that normal doesn't exist because we talked that mess during COVID. Like, oh, we're going to get back to normal. We can't wait to get back to normal. We're going to close the schools and close the businesses and give people STEMI checks until we can get back to normal. And then we're going to vaccinate people till we get back to normal. We have not gotten back to normal. There is a new normal. And whatever the wake of destruction that Donald Trump leaves, we won't get back to normal. He is going to redefine things in this republic permanently. I am now aware, just over 100 days into this administration, that presidents can do whatever they want. If the court orders an executive branch to do something or to stop doing something, they literally don't have to listen. You can just snatch people off the street that are here legally and just send them to a concentration camp. You can snatch somebody off of the street and admit you snatched the wrong person and have them deported too. That thing with Abrego Garcia, a little bit of a side note here, that one got me. Because here's the thing. They were intentional in telling us that they got the wrong person. If the federal government makes that kind of a mistake, they never admit it. It took them, I think the U.S. Senate apologized for slavery in 1995, and they did it with a voice vote because the U.S. senators at the time didn't want to be on record as apologizing for slavery. I want you to let that sink in. Slavery could have been the easiest thing for this nation to apologize for. And with the apology, there was no reparations. There was no promise for new policies that address racial discrimination. It was just a damn apology. And they said the only way we'll do it as the U.S. Senate, as if it's a voice vote, so there's no actual public record of who actually apologized for slavery. When the federal government makes mistakes, it doesn't admit it. The Vietnam War, in my opinion, one of the biggest public policy failures in this nation's history. Now, we have had other public policy failures, but the Vietnam War, we knew as a nation it was unwinnable in 1965. In 1965, the federal government knew, the Johnson administration knew, the Secretary of Defense knew that there was no way that we could win the Vietnam War. You know what we proceeded to do? Send 550,000 additional American troops to Vietnam for the next 10 years, knowing that we were marching a lot of those men to their death. That's a major policy failure, too. And America never apologized for the Vietnam War, never apologized for those families, or to those families, rather. When Abrego Garcia got apprehended, they came out and said, oops, we messed up. Our government never admits wrongdoing, even when we do wrong. Invading Iraq was wrong. Sanctioning the killing of Muammar Gaddafi in Libya was wrong. We never admit wrongdoing, but the fact that the Trump administration did admit wrongdoing and still deported the man anyway and said that they have no intention of bringing him back, there's something going on with this administration. And now they're trying to challenge birthright citizenship. I'm going to get back to James Comey in a second, but all this is culminating as to why I am particularly nervous. Now, this doesn't mean that you all should get nervous, but I have a bit of a different perspective on things because when you have worked in the government, especially the federal government, you have to know how to read between the lines a little bit. And I can give examples like the Patriot Act is another good one. When Russ Feingold was the only senator out of 100 to vote against it, we should have listened to him. Russ Feingold, I remember plain as day, he was like, hello? This is terrible. We're going to be spying on Americans. And then everybody said, oh, shut up, Russ. We want to protect America from hijackers. America was under attack and our buildings came down in a controlled demolition. And the Twin Towers and then randomly World Trade Center building number 7, it blew up too because it was sad that the 1 and the 2 tower went down as well. So there was a whole bunch of things. But then we got the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act is now used to spy on you, monitor your financial transactions, your telephone calls, your text messages, because we're looking for terrorism, you see. Do you know how we found out that Donald Trump was talking to Russia? You guys know about this? He was running the first campaign. And they found out that he was having these back channel conversations with Russian officials because we always thought that Donald Trump was a Russian asset. Well, the reason why we were able to capture those conversations is because of the Patriot Act that allows for us in certain circumstances to do warrantless wiretaps. And it wasn't just Trump as a presidential candidate. They probably spied on Obama too, because remember, intelligence in the United States is very important. So if our president or a presidential candidate is talking to foreign countries that are an enemy of the American people, or if they're discussing things that could be harmful to our republic, it is known. We had September 11th, and then we got the Patriot Act, and the Patriot Act has been used to spy on Americans. We got Barack Obama as president for 2 terms, and then the response to that was Donald Trump. Women were empowering themselves with the Me Too movement and pushing back on sexual assault, sexual harassment. and they got the loss of their reproductive rights in better than half of the country. James Comey signaled by sending a picture, putting a picture on Instagram. It's a common phrase that people are using when they want to assassinate Donald Trump. It's 86-47. So 86, somebody means to kill them. And then 47, of course, is because Donald Trump is the 47th president. When the former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations posts something like that on his Instagram, a threat, not even thinly veiled, that the president needs to be assassinated, here's why this makes me particularly nervous. If you've worked in intelligence, there are people that still work in intelligence. James Comey had connections all over the world. There's no question about that. And just because you leave the office doesn't mean you don't still keep those connections. Here's another bit of information for you to help fortify the point. Even if you are no longer president, you still get security briefings. You guys know that? That Jimmy Carter, up until the day he died, he still got national security briefings because that is afforded to the person that used to be president. Barack Obama is still getting them. Joe Biden, wherever Joe Biden is, he's still getting national security briefings because as president, you still are connected to intelligence because even former presidents need to know about threats that might be aimed at the United States of America. James Comey probably has information that none of us are privy to because he is still connected. Now, he's not officially getting briefings like former presidents are, but think about how connected someone who was the head of the FBI for 10 years in this country. Think about how many connections that they have. James Comey knows things and is privy to things that none of us are. And so he is very intentional because I'm reading between the lines here. Why would somebody like him post a picture on Instagram that is a phrase that is being used by those that want Donald Trump killed? What does James Comey know that is so detrimental and so damaging that he would put such a picture on Instagram? Now, he, of course, has taken it down, but I think he wanted people to know that there is more going on that probably meets the eye. Comey uploaded a cryptic picture on his Instagram account yesterday afternoon, which featured an assortment of shells arranged to spell out 86-47. That specific combination of numbers has been linked to the assassination of Trump and the, quote, quiet resistance. The number 86 is considered to be slang for kill or murder, in an apparent reference to a standard-sized grave being 8 feet long and 6 feet deep. Trump is the 47th president, so some anti-Trump groups use the two numbers together to indicate that Trump should be assassinated. And I've seen that phrase used by other folks and posted on social media by like wackos and crazy folks that think that it's a good idea to kill a president. But when the former FBI director does, and James Comey knows what risk he is taking by posting something like that, and the fact that he was willing to take that risk means that there might be more danger with this president than anyone may be privy to at this moment. But he may have detailed information that the rest of us don't because he's taking a lot of risk. They can arrest him for that. They can arrest a former FBI director. And I've never been the director of the FBI, nor would I ever want to be. But why he would do something so incredibly intentional, even if it was only for a little while. So post that picture on his Instagram spoke volumes. He's saying, basically, I'm in line with people that want to kill the president, and they may arrest me because I am covertly threatening the president. So what is he actually trying to communicate? We have a culture of violence in this country, but there are some people that violence should never permeate to. I would never expect James Ray or Chris Ray rather, any of the previous FBI directors to post something that suggests a threat or the assassination of a previous president. Why would James Comey go to that length? What information is he privy to? What are his sources telling him that he wants the world to know that he is willing to face arrest? And quite honestly, with this administration, arrest and deportation, to post a threat to the President of the United States. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem exploded at Comey on X within hours of the post amid mounting fury from MAGA loyalists. Quote, disgraced former FBI Director James Comey just called for the assassination of President Trump, she wrote. Department of Homeland Security and Secret Service is, in fact, investigating this threat, and they will respond appropriately. And I have somebody posted the picture here on the website, and it's spelled out in seashells on a sandy beach, and it says 8647. And then Comey posted on Instagram. It got 71 likes on Instagram before he deleted it. And it says, from James Comey, he says, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And it does spell out 8647. A standard grave is 8 feet long and 6 feet deep. 86 is a common number phrase used for murder or for killing somebody. And the 47 corresponds to Donald Trump as the 47th president. Comey swiftly deleted the Instagram photo, but not before it was seized upon and shared widely among right-wing X accounts. I'm going to pause there, take a break, come back. Our phone number, if you are so inclined, is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. Is this much to do about nothing, or should we really look at the fact that a former FBI director, who we know gets information and intelligence that normal, regular lay people would never get, that he would risk arrest or worse by this administration by posting a picture that is an assassination threat to Donald Trump? The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships in building out your dream, and then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
Escape the city and relax at Lake Lawn Resort in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin. Enjoy outdoor activities on Delavan Lake. Tee off at the lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course or unwind at the award-winning Calidora Spa. With both indoor and outdoor pools, there's fun for the whole family. Take a cruise on the Lake Lawn Queen. Explore stunning shores and historic landmarks and enjoy delicious food and drinks on board. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com, where everything is better at the lake.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law Offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law Offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law Offices make our community a better place.
They are the best.
For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law Offices.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
James Comey swiftly deleted the Instagram photo, but not before it was seized upon and shared widely among right-wing X accounts. And maybe I'm looking into this a little bit further than I should, but I've worked in government before. I worked for a mayor. I worked for a state senator. I've worked for a member of Congress. And the people that you meet at various levels of government when you are employed there, they remain your friends. You know, any job that you've had, right? There's people that you met when you worked at whatever job and you stayed friends with them. That's not uncommon. Well, people that I met when I worked in different levels of government, I still stay very connected to the ones that I liked, obviously. And the information and the insight that they can provide me, especially when we're talking off the record, is priceless. And so if you've ever worked at a level of government, there are sources that you maintain because, you know, you got along with those people. They happen to be your friends in some situations, so they keep you informed. James Comey probably has some of his sources and some people that he met in the decade that he was FBI director that keep him informed of things that are going on when it comes to national intelligence and threats to America, et cetera, because he is afforded that level of credibility to where he can keep some of those secrets. And I'm wondering if he knows something that would cause him to post a picture on Instagram that he knows. Because here's what's crazy. He was FBI director for at least 10 years, and he gained credibility with me when he gave us a warning in 2006 that none of us paid attention to. So I got an article right here, which this is where James Comey gained credibility with me. Now, he may have lost it in some regards, but originally he gained credibility because in 2006, he said, hey, America, you need to watch out because you have a number of men, white men, who are members of white nationalist groups and organizations that are joining law enforcement. But the way the FBI investigated it, white nationalists at the time, and it became an issue, like a national security threat. James Comey said that there were so many white nationalists. This is back in 2006 when George Bush was president. There were so many white nationalists that were intentionally signing up to the police academy to be local cops and to be sheriffs, that it's a threat to national security. But when they monitored and tracked some of these white nationalists that were signing up to be police officers, it wasn't to kill black people and to kill minorities. This is what was very unusual about that. They were signing up to be law enforcement so that when other law enforcement used excessive force or killed a black or brown person without probable cause or without reason, that when internal investigations did their investigations of those incidents, those cops would be cleared. There was a period of time. Now, we have since gotten rid of that. And now if there's an officer involved shooting, we then have the investigation done by an outside agency. You guys are familiar with that. Scott Walker signed that law because there was so much public outrage that when the police were involved in excessive force or if they killed somebody and we found that it wasn't justified, the police would do their own investigation on one of their own. That's that whole thin blue line crap. And they, of course, would clear that officer because cops rarely ever discipline one another. And so the white nationalists were joining local law enforcement, not so that they could commit crimes or they could kill more black people, but when other cops did do those things, that those police officers would be cleared and would never lose their jobs as police officers. Let's talk to Al from Sherwin Park. I swear I banned you. Did I ban you?
No, you didn't ban me.
All right, there's still time.
I mean, you get mad at me. You get mad at me, but you didn't ban me. Going back to the days of J. Edgar Hoover, and we found out he had this high title, but the man was nuttier than the payday bar. That's what I felt about James Comey. It came out, I wasn't the biggest Hillary fan, but what he did in 2016 with the announcement that he was reopening the investigation on her emails, I thought that he was a drama queen at that time because there was no need for him to come out and make that announcement. He could have just opened the investigation and done it quietly. He was right to be fired by Donald Trump, and just because you have a high position does not mean you have emotional intelligence or mental stability. That man knows better than to post something like 8647.
He does know better, but that makes me think that there's a reason why he did it because he's taking a lot of risk. So when he was FBI director, if a former FBI director or anybody who held a very high status position posted something like that, James Comey would have investigated that person too. So he knew by posting that it would trigger an investigation, because if he was FBI director, that would be his responsibility to investigate one of those threats against the president. So that makes me think that there's a reason why he did it, because he doesn't need attention. He was never an attention guy. Usually former and retired law enforcement people, they just kind of go away quietly. But it makes me think there's something to this. Like, what does he need attention for? He's not going to run for office because he would never get elected. You know, he's way long gone out of the public spotlight. But why would he re-enter the public discourse about politics by posting a picture that is widely known as a threat on a president or on Donald Trump, especially after there was already 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump? Maybe something is coming. Maybe he's trying to warn us. Maybe it's somebody trying to get Trump.
But look at all the people that Trump has fired, and look how many have gone off the deep end. Where they just can't control themselves when they talk about Donald Trump.
And probably rightfully so, because we are seeing our republic completely implode. And I know that I'm not going to convince you of that, but if I'm not able to convince you, Mr. Al from Sherman Park, time will certainly do a much better job of that. Appreciate your call. Trump ally and newly appointed FBI Director Chief Kash Patel also addressed the scandal, writing, quote, "We are aware of the recent social media posts by former FBI Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide all necessary support." So when there is a major threat to national security, all of the alphabet agencies, they work together. It'll be the DEA, it'll be the FBI, it'll be Department of Homeland Security, it'll be ICE, it'll be there's another. The ATF will sometimes get involved, because they all have different scopes and different sources and different bits and pieces of influence, and they usually work together when they deem that there is a threat that is credible. And an assassination threat from the former FBI director is probably about as credible as you can possibly get. Comey issued a statement on Thursday night insisting it was an honest mistake, and he did not understand the connotations of the message. That sounds like a legal defense. First of all, how are you walking on the beach randomly, James Comey, and you see seashells aligned so perfectly with the number 8, the number 6, a little space, and the number 4, and the number 7? And even if you see that as a former FBI director, why take a picture of it? And then if you take a picture of it, why put it on your Instagram and have it be displayed publicly, knowing that it would trigger an investigation of you and all of these agencies combining their resources? And he already is probably still, he's hated by Trump because Trump fired him. And I'm curious and nervous at the exact same time, because he took a lot of risk in posting that. And so what Al from Sherman Park said, when Comey was asked why he opened up that investigation of Hillary Clinton those days, those weeks before the 2016 presidential election, because they had cleared her of her using a private server for classified exchanges, right? That's a big deal. But here's what's crazy. You had Pete Hegseth sending battle plans with a texting app called Signal, which is worse than what Hillary Clinton did with her private server. So they investigated Hillary Clinton and went through how many emails. That's when they found out that Hillary Clinton had a high-ranking staff person who was married to Congressman Anthony Weiner. And going through Hillary Clinton's emails, because she wasn't supposed to use her home computer to conduct business while she was head of the State Department. And so that triggered the investigation when they went through tens of thousands of emails. But that's when they found out that her high-ranking staff, like her chief of staff, Uma something, I can't think of her last name, that her husband was cheating on her. Somehow that scandal got released because they were going through Hillary's emails. So they went through all of her emails. They found nothing of major significance. But then there was another trove of emails that was found, which we come to find out was just the same emails that they originally went through, but James Comey was unaware of that. And so James Comey said we had to open up the additional investigation because he didn't want to make it look like he was biased toward Trump if he received credible information that there might be thousands of emails that the FBI had not yet gone through. And Comey had a choice. Like, I got to be honest. There's emails that could contain classified information. We as the FBI and me as the director, we are charged with investigating that, no matter what the timing of that is. He came out and he actually said that. But here's what the bigger story was that I think they got overshadowed. Donald Trump gave a press conference right around that time and said, Russia, if you're listening, please get us Hillary Clinton's emails. Hillary Clinton was hacked by foreign agents sympathetic and loyal to Vladimir Putin, and they were the ones responsible for saying that Hillary Clinton had these additional thousands of emails that needed to be gone through. We should have known that Donald Trump was a scam and a fraud then when he asked Russia to essentially spy on an American that was also his political opponent, and Russia delivered. A lot of what Trump is doing right now with undocumented people is he is testing the bounds of the Constitution to see what he can do with American citizens. I need you to know something, and I don't care if you believe me because time is going to prove me right. History will show that I am correct. Nobody cares about these migrants because they have been so demonized. They're over here committing crimes and they're murderers and they're invading the country and they're taking all of our jobs. So if we take due process away from them, what happens? What do the courts do? How do the American people react? And if we are soft in our reaction to that, then we're next. He's not going to stop. You got to start with people that are easy to disrespect, that are easy to oppress. You got to start with them. And migrants, they're not organized. They're in this country to work. They're not here, fighting every single day to make sure that they get due process. Most of them are scared as hell. And so if you can get rid of them, then there's another undesirable group that probably aren't connected or politically organized that you can go after. Remember, Donald Trump has made it clear he wants to be able to go after his political opponents. They did it with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Burisma. They did it with Hillary Clinton. Now he is in control of this nation again, and he's starting on a trajectory that, okay, so what if we find an undesirable group of people that we worked really, really hard to demonize? Like Trump worked hard to make you think that migrants are coming to kill you. And then they'll highlight the very rare situations where someone who is in this country illegally killed an American citizen. And you guys got to know that that's incredibly rare because statistically, and I know some of y'all don't like math, but statistically, you are more likely to be killed by an American than you are from somebody from Guatemala. But they highlight every single time somebody is in this country illegally and they commit a crime, but we lowlight that you're more likely to be killed, harmed, or robbed, or be victimized by another American. So Trump has done a very, very good job with his ability to manipulate the media to demonize a group of people, right? So he gets reelected. He's like, okay, let's see if we can round him up and throw him out of the country. And then the Abrego Garcia thing makes a lot more sense. Let's round him up, admit something the United States never admits, that they made a mistake, deport him as a mistake, and then not bring him home. Even when the courts say, Mr. President, you have to bring this guy back so he can have an actual court hearing. Trump wants to see what is going to happen. And guess what? Nothing is happening. So if he is able to go this far, then the 14th Amendment is next. Birthright citizenship. How can we select which Americans, even born here Americans, we can take citizenship from and also ship them out of the country? He is doing this to climb this unconstitutional ladder to see how far he can go. And right now, it seems like the sky's the limit for him. James Comey's thinly veiled threat, I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but we'll see sooner than later. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all our
are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy, where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the uncommon coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
On Thursday, May 22nd, join Sharp Literacy for the 9th annual Unwrapped Milwaukee fundraising event from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 3rd Street Market Hall. Unwrapped is an evening of community, creativity, and food. Top area chefs will create gourmet appetizer, entree, and dessert bites using McDonald's ingredients. The fundraiser will support Sharp's STEAM-based educational program serving thousands of urban elementary students in 47 Milwaukee, Waukesha, and Racine schools. For tickets, visit sharpliteracy.org.
Today's Making Your Money Work is presented by Associated Bank, and right now I am excited to be joined by Ashley Lucas. Ashley Lucas, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, and I am excited. We are so close to the holidays. How are you?
I'm doing really good, too. I'm excited to be speaking with you because, you know, the work that you and Associated Bank do is incredible. So I want to get right into it. So in what ways does Associated Bank support small businesses?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the kudos. We really take it to heart here to ensure that we're helping the businesses in our community, those local business owners that are working hard, you know, to help the people that, you know, live and work in the Milwaukee area. So one of the biggest things we have here is we have not only certified branch managers and colleagues, but also a small business relationship manager team that's able to assist a business, whether they're just starting out, they need their first loan, they're looking to retire, they're wondering, you know, how to manage their day-to-day operations with their finances. And I think that's really important because, you know, having that go-to person that you can contact no matter, you know, what questions you have is really, really, really important to business owners.
So how can people get in touch with you? I know they're interested at this point.
We have something also really cool at Associated Bank. Anyone can go into any one of our local branches. We have business certified colleagues there that are able to help. Or if you're like me and you see the snow coming down today and you're like, nope, I want to stay in my jammies and at home, we have a virtual relationship manager hotline, and anyone can call whether they're a customer or not. They're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and their number is 1-800-270-7725.
Thank you so much, Ashley Lucas. We always have such a good time.
Making your money work on the award-winning 1017 The Truth is sponsored by Associated Bank. Your money works here. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
There's an organization that I want you to be aware of. Now, they have been considered controversial. I don't think so. I think they provide details about things that no other organization is providing, at least not to this level. There's an acronym. It's the NCRI. That is the Network Contagion Research Institute. Now, many, many years ago, we wouldn't need an organization like the Network Contagion Research Institute. But what they do is they track threats. A lot of times, organizations, racist organizations, white nationalist organizations, weird conspiracy organizations like QAnon, they start online. They start in like message boards, and they start on Reddit and in subreddits. And what they do is they track these groups that could be a threat to us as Americans, could be a threat to national security. And they watch these groups as they grow and get more members. And then sometimes these groups become real credible threats because they meet in real life, right? So you can have a QAnon conspiracy theorist spouting a bunch of insane stuff And then QAnon becomes a movement that is so big, it joins the January 6, 2021 protests. So having an organization like the NCRI, the Network Contagion Research Institute, I think it's necessary. Now, a lot of people have dismissed it because their focus is oftentimes on some of those more extreme organizations. Like, I'm not aware of them investigating black people and like the Black Panthers and black separatist groups, but they will investigate white racist groups, white supremacist groups, weird conspiracy theorist groups like QAnon, that's also considered a terrorist organization, you see. So the right doesn't necessarily think that they are credible because they seem to always be investigating these agencies and groups and collaborations of white right-wing extremism, you see. Well, they came out with a little information. Now, again, people don't think that they're credible because they make much to do about nothing. They're just a group of people that's overly paranoid. I think we need folks that are dedicated to investigating conspiracy theories, because conspiracy theories, when coupled with the internet, can grow. Incels started as a group of guys with a really dark, twisted sense of humor, but it grew into more than just a bunch of dudes who live in their parents' basement, who are 30-something years old, who have no jobs and just play video games. These incels became a collection of men who are very angry at women because they've never been on dates before. They're single. A lot of them are virgins, and they actually blame women for their lack of attention in the sexual marketplace. And incels, make no doubt about it, they are killers. They are mass shooters, and sometimes they leave manifestos saying as much. Like, these are the guys that never dated anybody in high school, but then when they're 40 years old decide that they want to murder the prom queen when he was a senior in high school and go shoot up her workplace. Really crazy people. And because the internet is unlimited, we have to have something dedicated, more than just the federal government, dedicated to investigating these crazy conspiracy theories, because they could represent a real danger to the American people. I titled the show, America's Language is Violence, because it is. Revolution is violent. America was started by a revolution. There's even some people from marginalized groups who think that violence is the only way that America can renew its republic. I tend to shy away from that because I don't think that people are ready for the horrors of war. And I say that because I have spent a disproportionate amount of time with people that fought in actual wars. We don't want any parts of that. In fact, I would advise you to watch a documentary. But let me give you a warning. So if you're a revolutionary type, obviously know everything that you possibly can about military campaigns in the past and even ones that are going on right now, because it's not what you think. War is never what you think. That's why I study it so intensely, because there's a lot of lessons to be learned in wars, especially in wars that we lose. It's called 20 Days in Mariupol, and it's about the first 20 days of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which a lot of us, including myself, dismissed. Because I'm like, it's a bunch of white people who are disagreeing over territory. So as white folks, one white person wants to expand their property line into somebody else's yard. That's their issue. That's their problem. Well, after I saw this documentary, 20 Days in Mariupol, I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of movies and television, because I love documentaries, because I can learn more from a visual representation of history than actually reading a book. I've never seen anything like it. The casualties of the first 20 days of that Russian invasion, and we're on like year 3 now, were children. Because Russia made it seem like it was a land dispute, a territorial dispute. But there were members of the Associated Press that were on the ground in Ukraine, and the fighting forces in Ukraine welcomed these reporters to take pictures and to take videos of what Russia was actually doing to the Ukrainian people. They were bombing not military targets, but neighborhoods and houses and apartment buildings. Okay? And it's showing all this stuff in real time. It's showing these Russian tanks going down urban streets and just shooting people in their houses. All right? Those are war crimes, by the way. And then where do people go when they get injured? I go to the hospital. The next targets were hospitals. And you see these tanks aiming their turrets at hospitals. And there's a particular scene which I wish I hadn't seen it, but I'm glad I've seen it because I'm not the same person after I saw it in this documentary, 20 Days in Mariupol. They bombed a maternity ward of a hospital intentionally and on purpose. That's egregious, but also that's war. And so for those of you that are revolutionary types, you need to know that war looks like that. It's children. Oh, and they show the bodies of babies, and they show these mass graves of innocent civilians that didn't ask for any of that. So if you're a revolutionary type, that's just something you should see for your own edification. So here's the latest report from the NCRI. It's an assassination culture brief they've done. It says political violence targeting Donald Trump and Elon Musk is becoming increasingly normalized following the July 13th, 2024 attempted assassination of President Trump. Tolerance and even advocacy for political violence appears to have surged, especially among the political left. Now, let me stop there. I was under the impression, like a lot of you, that political violence came from crazy Trump supporters and these deranged people who had these hit lists. Remember, there was a guy in Washington, D.C. that was riding around in a van, and he had like guns and explosives in the van, and he had a bunch of names of Democratic elected officials that he was going to assassinate, Eric Holder, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi. And after seeing what happened on January 6th, I'm thinking that political violence in this country is a function of the right. Now, there's violence everywhere. And, of course, these 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life, that's political violence as well. But these were 2 individual people. What happened on January 6th was organized on the regular old surface internet. The surface internet, as opposed to the dark web, you can do things on the dark web where most people are not privy. They organized January 6th on Instagram where everybody could see it. So when I look at political violence and I look at right and left, the right has gone to egregious lengths. And Trump supports the right side political violence because he pardoned damn near everybody. You know, remember the black guy that got arrested and got sent to jail? He got the longest sentence because he was participating in January 6, 2021 stuff. Does anybody know if he got pardoned? Wouldn't that be something if Donald Trump pardoned all those people except for him? Somebody should probably look that up because I think that would be proving a case that probably doesn't need any proving, that if a black person is fighting for Donald Trump, you're going to stay in jail, but everybody else is going to get a reprieve of their sentence. Well, what the NCRI found is that political violence from the left is now becoming more prominent, and it's also becoming more organized. I don't see this as a good thing because we cannot have this country plunge into revolution, and I say that for a number of reasons. It's bad for business, that's first and foremost. Secondarily, the left is not prepared. Thirdly, minorities would get killed first. If Donald Trump is assassinated, and I'm not calling for that, please nobody mistake my words, we will be in a political revolution immediately, and J.D. Vance will likely weaponize the U.S. military to go after the political opponents and any organized groups that were anti-Trump. I'm going to take a break, come back, give you more details on the NCRI report on the left side of the political spectrum, now getting much more organized and now adopting philosophies of political violence, which I need to say I fundamentally, morally, personally, and vehemently disagree with because I don't like war. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 1017 The Truth, Kyle Wallace, and the time is now, Milwaukee. Truth to Power is your platform. And on my show, our community always has a voice. There is no topic that is off limits, and I always give you my authentic opinions on how I feel because keeping it real is the only way I know how to get down. Listen to Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, every day from noon to 1 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on YouTube at 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
My overall experience with Gruber Law Offices has been phenomenal.
The treatment was excellent.
They will be supportive of you. They will listen to you.
It was a great experience knowing that I had people to help me.
I know I could count on them to do what I needed to get done.
Experience with Gruber was great.
They gave me my life back.
It was amazing.
He gets results.
We know how to win. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gruber Law Offices had my best interests at heart.
Highlight your long weekend when the Brewers kick off a 3-game series against the Red Sox on Memorial Day, featuring the best way to start summer, Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the summer vibes going into the week as kids and seniors can get 50% off select tickets at the game on Wednesday, May 28th. What's better than a long weekend? Brewers baseball and dollar hot dogs. Find your seats today at brewers.com.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All the music being played on today's show is coming from my unreleased smooth jazz album called Blue Mist that I made entirely with artificial intelligence. Oh, I'm gonna be in a lab this weekend, Zach. What'd you say, Zach? Mark who? Oh, the black guy. He got a pardon. Okay. So Donald Trump didn't just pardon all the white fellas, he pardoned the black fella as well. I was kind of hoping he didn't pardon the black guy, because then I would have used that as an example of, see, Trump will pardon all the white fellas, but not your black ass. Political violence targeting Donald Trump and Elon Musk is becoming increasingly normalized following the July 13th, 2024 attempted assassination of President Trump. Tolerance, even advocacy for political violence, appears to have surged. Steve Scalise, a congressman from Louisiana, he was shot at the congressional softball game some years ago by a guy that we come to find out was a Bernie Sanders supporter, but that was an isolated single incident, a lone gunman. The political violence that we have seen as of late during the rise and crescendo of Donald Trump, the organization of the political right and their political violence is what is much more prominent. There was, of course, that group of guys that were a part of that organized militia in the state of Michigan, where they would conduct training exercises in the woods, and they attempted to kidnap and to torture and or murder Gretchen Whitmer, the Democratic governor of Michigan. And the only reason why those guys got caught is because they were in a bar one night discussing their plans, and they didn't realize that an FBI agent had infiltrated their group, and that's how their plan got foiled. And for the white nationalist groups and organizations that are out there, they have to know that once they admit who they are and they begin to recruit, you always get an FBI agent in your group, you idiots. How do you not know that? Have you guys not watched like all of the TV shows and the movies? They always infiltrate. You want to start a new white nationalist organization, you start recruiting on Reddit, an FBI agent is going to pose as a potential recruit. Like, you guys need to do better background checks on who you're recruiting. You guys take anybody. You guys might even take me if I show up to a white nationalist meeting. Pretend that I'm blind and didn't know that I was black. Like, what's the Dave Chappelle character name? The blind dude that joined the Klan and he didn't know he was black? A broader assassination culture appears to be emerging within segments of the U.S. public on the extreme left. And this rolls into that cryptic, well, not so cryptic, picture that James Comey put on his Instagram, which was very intentional. Former FBI directors don't make mistakes like that. James Comey did that on purpose he did it for some reason. I can't tell you why. I also know that as a former FBI director, he is still connected to all sorts of intelligence, and he knows more about the president because there are probably some people that are working deep in the throes of national intelligence that worked for him that are still somewhere in the Trump administration that might be providing James Comey information that the rest of the world is not privy to. So why would James Comey join this growing chorus of people on the left that are calling for political violence against the president? I am not for that because I know what happens afterwards, and America is not ready for that. I don't want to have to take a gun with me to go to the grocery store if we're in American Revolution and people going to be shooting at me and they're going to cut off our internet, cut off our electricity. That's the first thing they do in the theater of war. They cut off your resources, so there's no telephones, there's no electricity. And that's what I think a lot of folks who toy with the idea of revolution, if you're black and you're like, oh yeah, we're going to have a revolution, they're going to cut off insulin to the black community, and 10% of us will be dead in 72 hours. Like, you don't still get the resources that you need to maintain yourself if you're in an act of war against your government. That's the first thing that they do. So no electricity. They're going to cut off the water. They're going to cut off your gas. Grocery stores are going to be empty. They're not going to feed anybody. All of that stuff would come to fruition in a matter of moments. And the only conceivable way any group, and I'm not encouraging this, nor am I trying to inform people on how it would work, is that whatever separatist group exists in the United States, and black people are not a separatist group. We're just mad. We're fed up because America just is still acting stupid towards us. That's the easiest way I can put it. It's time out for all that stupid stuff. We've given you guys everything from air conditioning to the self-lubricating engine to doorknobs. I think we invented the hairbrush too. So just leave us alone, please. Stop with the racism, or we'll take away your doorknobs and your hairbrushes and possibly your potato chips. Maybe. Any separatist group in the United States would need to be funded and armed by a foreign nation that could supply an army in the United States. We don't have that. And even if we did have that, how are they going to get anything to the revolutionaries inside the country? Were they going to come through Mexico? Our borders are more tightly guarded than ever before. I'm going to take a break, come back for hour 3, and pick it up where I left off. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back shortly.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices, and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win. And how many games? 6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know, what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year in 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Carrie, where's Tori Lowe and Dr. Ken at? I'm trying to knock these commercials out.
How am I supposed to know, Sherwin?
Well, I'm about to do their parts because my impressions are on point anyway. This is Dr. Ken Harris from Truth in the Afternoon, and I want you to download the Truth app in the Google Play Store and Apple Store so you can never miss my show or any of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Really, Kyle?
Sherwin, you are crazy.
Sherwin, your impression of me is horrible. Move. Give me my mic. I guess I'll just repeat what Sherwin said. Go to the Google Play Store or Apple Store to download the 1017 The Truth app today so you can take the home of Milwaukee Black Talk with you wherever you are.
Can't listen live? Download the new 1017 The Truth app on your smartphone today to catch up on all your favorite shows. Search 1017 The Truth on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store so you don't miss out on any of the action. Milwaukee's Black Talk lives here. You are listening to 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, now fortified with artificial intelligence. I started the show talking about an incident that took place near City Hall. It was at the Zeidler Municipal Building, which is at 841 North Broadway. Those of you that live in the city of Milwaukee, you are familiar with that building. It is where you can go and pay your water bill. It is also where we have an early voting location ahead of our elections. There was a major police presence there yesterday, and buildings were ordered evacuated because there was, in fact, a report of shots fired. In fact, I think the first report that we heard, credible report that there were shots fired at the municipal building, was from the mayor's office. Now, they obviously didn't have all of the details, and it's unfortunate because I know in the information business, some time ago, the important prioritized factor was you want your information to be right. You want it to be accurate you want it to be correct. And we all know that when an incident first takes place, the information that gets spread is not always accurate. What we prioritize now is being first. That's what news outlets try and do. They try and scoop one another. That's what social media journalists do. They hear about something, boom, they put it on the internet as soon as they hear something. They do not check and fact check the accuracy of that information. I believe that is what happened yesterday. It would not have taken long to find out there was, in fact, no gunman in the municipal building, that it was a fired employee that closed the door real hard on the 4th floor in the stairwell, and it echoed, and people thought it was a gunshot. And then what happened was you have several alderpersons that are now taking that seriously, even though the incident didn't even happen in City Hall. You know, that's where the alders were. It happened in a building adjacent to City Hall, and you even had an alder or two, at least one, saying, we need metal detectors here at City Hall. Ain't nobody trying to kill y'all. We just want y'all to make sure the snow plows are plowing the snow and the garbage is getting picked up. If y'all do that, we'll protect you. Ain't nobody trying to kill no damn alderman. And the mayor is a nice guy. Nobody want to kill him. People might get mad at him for maybe not doing enough or not getting angry enough, but ain't nobody trying to kill him. But the reason why I think that conversation reached a fever pitch among city elected officials is because we live in a climate and a culture of political violence. Talked about how James Comey, the former director of the FBI, did something that is so incredibly out of character for someone that I would consider a credible human being and someone who astutely held up his oath of office to protect the American people and protect the American Constitution. He posted on his Instagram the numbers 8647. There was a photograph that he took and he put on his Instagram, and we know 86 stands for graves are 8 feet long and 6 feet deep. In popular culture and in slang, to 86 something or someone is to kill it. And then, of course, the number 47 that was also in the photo that James Comey intentionally uploaded to his Instagram corresponds to President Donald Trump being the 47th president. Before we took our last commercial intermission, I was talking about an organization called the Network Contagion Research Institute, and they track groups and organizations that begin online, or they track threats online that then get more people and they grow as far as their organization. Then those organizations become real life organizations that could represent a threat to American democracy, to elected officials, et cetera, et cetera. And all the things that we have talked about on this show, if we talk about political violence, it's usually that organized kind of political violence that we see from the right. There's not a bunch of lefty liberal Democrats that are out in the woods doing military exercises, but there certainly are right-wing militias that are oftentimes made up of people who are ex-military. In fact, we've got people that are currently serving in the military right now that are affiliated with some of these white nationalist MAGA groups and pro-Trump groups. How do we know? Because some of them got arrested on January 6, 2021. So our perception, most of Americans' perception of political violence are those who are willing to go all the way to the end of the earth for Donald Trump. The Proud Boys is another example. He pardoned all of them as well. The Proud Boys were acting as Donald Trump's personal army. So political violence, it is well understood that it's a function of the right, not really a function of the left. You get a bunch of lefty progressives out in the woods somewhere, you know what they're going to do? Probably smoke a bunch of weed, do each other's hair, and roast marshmallows. I think that's what they would do. And then Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would be there, and she would tell everybody, we got to fight for workers' rights. And then Bernie Sanders would be there. Bernie Sanders, I'm convinced, is going to outlive all of us. I don't like that there's some national media outlets that are still prominently featuring Bernie Sanders like he's the only one or the only credible voice on the left. He's not, and I don't like that, because Bernie Sanders, if you give Bernie Sanders enough TV time and interview, he's got to be 200 years old. Bernie Sanders might have owned slaves. I don't know. Do you know? Have you looked it up? He might have. When Donald Trump gave his address to Congress, he went through a list of now debunked, well, it was debunked before that, a list of people that were 120 years old, 130 years old that were getting Social Security. And that is what Trump said to Congress to justify Elon Musk and Doge to go and make major reforms to Social Security. He read a list. Some of you watched that speech. There are people that are 120 years old that are on the books and still getting Social Security. Bernie Sanders might be one of those people. And then I think the oldest age that Trump read in that made-up propaganda was someone who was like 360 years old. This is even 200 years plus years before Social Security even existed, said that somebody that was 300-something years old was getting Social Security. That might have been Bernie Sanders. However, I digress. But I think the more prominently Bernie Sanders is featured, in the rallies he's doing and the interviews that he's doing in some media is going to get the American people thinking that he should run for president again, because for some reason Bernie Sanders wants to be president, but he won't be, not of this country. He can be president of a block club. He can be president of like a local Boy Scout troop, but he won't be president of the United States. He is not the one to lead the charge on the left. If it's not Hakeem Jeffries, at least temporarily from the political and policy standpoint, but I'm not sure who it is. A broader assassination culture appears to be emerging within segments of the United States public on the extreme left, with expanding targets now including figures such as Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The NCRI empirically assessed this shift with original survey data and open source intelligence analysis to assess how normalized and justified violence against the administration has become in public discourse. These findings signal a threat to political stability and public safety. And I'm going to read some of these key data points. I will never justify political violence because I think that there is a way in which Americans can solve their political disagreements. Political violence is something that usually happens in other countries that are a lot less sophisticated, that have long-standing histories with authoritarianism and with dictators and like real military coups where like a group of people just storms a capital and they just take over the government and they shoot a bunch of people in parliament. We don't do that here. I like to think that we are at least slightly more sophisticated than those nations. And oftentimes when things like that happen in those nations, there's oftentimes American intervention. We don't like coups because it creates instability on the planet. Whenever there's instability on the planet, it can interrupt supply chains and it can interrupt the flow of money and resources and travel and tourism. We don't like that. So America oftentimes gets involved, and we may never even hear about it most of the time, these covert operations that we may send our alphabet agencies into to quell some of that violence that takes place in other countries, because it's just a matter of time before it impacts American interests. We don't solve our problems that way. But with the left now adopting a philosophy of political violence, it very well could come to that. Murder justification, 31 and 38% of respondents said it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk and President Donald Trump, respectively. That's not good. That should be like less than 1%. I don't justify political violence, but from the right, I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. The demographic of the right-wing white male extremists is one that is very specific. He feels disconnected. He feels like his country is leaving him. He probably abuses drugs or alcohol. He has suicidal ideation. He's unemployed. He's underemployed. He's probably not married. He's probably divorced maybe multiple times. He probably doesn't see his children. He's paying child support, et cetera, et cetera. And he feels like he, as a white man of middle age, is losing his country. I can see him resorting to violence. I can see that. I don't see that on the left, because as the United States population does whatever it's doing, more people are becoming Democrats. The Republican Party and their very narrow demographic is getting smaller. Caucasian people not reproducing at the same rate as other races and ethnicities. Their overall population is the oldest in the United States. The average white person is what we call post-reproductive age. They're not having babies anymore. So the way of life that white people have gotten used to and they have curated in this nation is fading, and it's fading fast. That is why they don't want people to have abortions. Because look, if black and Latino women and Asian women were the only ones having abortions, they would be free. But because so many white women are not carrying children to term and they don't want to have children in this world in these unsteady economic times, that's when they got to do the national abortion ban. That and pushing back on the Me Too movement. So I get it. Those people that were told and sold the fairy tale of what America is, it would always be the great land of opportunity for white folks. I can see them resorting to violence because it's the last refuge of a savage. The Americans, if you want to call them that, during the colonial period, they got tired of England taxing them and being very oppressive. They had no choice but to run the British out of the country with the Revolutionary War. It is a tried and true tactic of people that feel like they are losing greatly. But here's what I want to tell you folks who identify with the political left. You're not losing, you're gaining. And that's what they're afraid of. And for members of the left, however small, but these numbers don't appear to be small, I'm going to go through a few more of them to illustrate the point, do not need to resort to the political violence and those sinister tactics of a demographic that is shrinking and feeling less powerless. We have the power at the ballot box, and they're afraid of that too. That's why they keep messing with voter ID and closing polling locations and making it more difficult for people that are African American, especially in the South, have to drive further to go and vote, have to wait in line longer because they're systematically closing our polling locations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a coincidence. They're doing it on purpose. And Donald Trump being reelected is also a part of that mix. But if the left political spectrum, I wasn't for people burning down the Tesla dealerships and messing up people's Teslas. You guys heard about some of that stuff. Teslas were just randomly getting vandalized. And your boy Sherwin got to admit, before Elon Musk was nuts or before we knew how nuts he was, I was thinking about getting a Tesla. Good thing I didn't. Let me walk out my house and find somebody vandalizing my Tesla if I had one because they're trying to make a political statement. I bet you that's the last Tesla they vandalized. I drive a Chevy Volt, though. Don't nobody want to vandalize that. They're like, oh, he's fine. Let him go with this little Chevrolet Volt. Murder justification, 31 to 38% of respondents stated it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk and President Donald Trump, respectively. These effects were largely driven by respondents that self-identified as left of center, with 48 and 55% at least somewhat justifying murder for Elon Musk and President Trump, respectively, indicating significantly higher justification for violence against these figures. Property destruction, nearly 40% of respondents at 39.8% stated it is at least somewhat acceptable or more to destroy a Tesla dealership in protest. Psychological/ideological correlations with assassination culture. These beliefs are highly correlated with one another, as well as with the justification of murder of the United Healthcare CEO and hyper-partisan left-wing ideology. Let's talk to Tehran. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. I just wanted to push back on the notion that the CIA or MI6 does not get involved with coups. They create coups for multinational corporations.
They do.
That's all they do.
I agree
That's
with
their
that.
purpose. So,
if something goes against American interests, absolutely they do that. You're right.
Yes, right. So there's like historical fact from Thomas and Carter, or Burkina Faso, to you name it. Muammar Gaddafi. You name it. That's their thing. That's most of their why they exist is to create coups for multinational corporations. So I just wanted to call and add that.
Thank you, Tehran. Appreciate your call and your clarity. Also, the Contras and the Sandinistas were opposing forces in the Nicaraguan Revolution and ensuing civil war. The Sandinistas, a left-wing guerrilla movement, overthrew Somoza's dictatorship in 1979 and formed a government. the Contras were counter-revolutionary forces who fought against the Sandinistas and were supported by the United States, including former President Ronald Reagan. If there is a communist uprising, there aren't really many of those anymore because we have realized as capitalists and Westerners, we can't beat communism. We can't. It's an ideology. It's like you can't beat terrorism. It's an ideology. Like you can't beat racism with war. It's an ideology. If there is a group of people and they are rebelling and they're forming a revolution, and there might be hardcore far left leaning and there might be communists and communist sympathizers, the United States will arm their opposition because we don't want the spread of communism, because if there's another communist regime somewhere on planet Earth, they probably will not do business with and will not allow themselves to be exploited by capitalism. And so if you exist on this earth and if you are not at least open to American capitalism, if you don't want to participate in our economy and spend our dollar and allow American companies and corporations to exploit your labor, we'll kill you. But that's the part of capitalism that we don't talk about. That's the ugly part. Take a break, come back, continue our chat. You're welcome to chime in with thoughts, feelings, questions. I hope you guys are not politically violent. People just need to get laid more. You know what I mean? When you're getting laid, you're not thinking about killing anything. Well, you're thinking about killing one thing, aren't you, Ricky, when you're putting it down? You're like, I'm going to kill this. But it's a different kind of killing.
Yeah.
Exactly. See that? I even have mood music for you if you want to do a little killing. Yeah, put a little bit of this on. She's like, ooh, Ricky, is this Sherwin Hughes' unreleased blues album, Blue Mist, that he created with AI? This will get you something right here. You know what I mean?
Some 3 6 Mafia, some Sexy Red.
People have sex to that? That's terrible music to have sex to. That
Keith, Moneybag Yo.
If you have sex to that music, your child is going to be a felon. And probably a little bit premature. You know what I mean?
I'm just messing around.
Oh, okay. I got to take a break, though. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Here at the new 101.7 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 101.7 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices, Milwaukee Black Talk.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Ready to join the fun? With Girl Scouts Extended Year Membership from Girl Scouts,
you can sign up by June 30th and get up to 18 months of adventure through September 30th, 2026.
Girls starting kindergarten or first grade in 2025 will also receive 3 Get Ready with Girl Scouts activity books,
featuring games, crafts, and stories the whole family will love, for free. Plus, you'll even get a special gift from the Girl Scouts. Join today and get ready to grow, explore, and shine with Girl Scouts.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
You are listening to The Truth Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth's Black Business Give Back Spotlight today at 3:57 p.m. That's right between the Tory Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken. We will be joined by India Guster, the owner of Royal Street MKE. We will discuss their freshly remodeled business, her journey as an entrepreneur, and of course, the delicious food and signature drinks all first-timers should try. So again, that is the Black Business Give Back Spotlight with Royal Street MKE today at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. And also, guys, I'm going to give away apparently a pair of tickets, 2 pairs of tickets to go see Let's Groove tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound. It's going to be taking place May 23rd through May 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. So you make sure you stay tuned for your chance to win a pair of tickets to Let's Groove tonight. They'll be bringing you iconic hits from legends like Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Lou Rawls, and The Temptations. And maybe one day my AI music will have me on tour. I'm starting to build a repertoire of music that I think you guys would be proud of. Even though some of you are haters and don't like my intros. What? Not you too, Ricky. Not.
I told you I have no problem with it, but I think that the original sounds better.
Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I feel like we need theme music to talk to Andy Positive here. I don't even know if I want to take his call. It's. You know what?
Sounds like elevator music.
So this one, no, Rick. This is the beginning of my trap beat.
Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now.
No, the last one.
Milwaukee Flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game. Sherwin on the mic, better.
Here's the thing about this song, entirely generated by AI. It knows me better than I know me. I put a song together just to show how quickly you can generate a song. I made like 3 songs for Zech yesterday, and it talked about him performing in Stevens Point. That's crazy, right? All right, let's talk to. Is this guy's name for real? You see his name that came up on the caller ID? All right. Andy Positive, you're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
Really good, Sherwin. I wanted to just say a couple of things, if you don't mind. And the first, you said this before, and I agree that when language fails, violence ensues, and a democracy is nothing if not language and persuasion and dialogue. And to the extent that fails, we are going to see violence. That's sad, but... And can I comment on your AI real quick?
Before you do that, Andy, you're not a violent person, are you?
No, I am a pacifist. Listen, I catch flies in my house and release them. And spiders, I never step on the ground unless there's concrete or cement, because you're probably smashing a potato bug, whatever. So no, but I'm saying just what I said about language, and I think you said that too.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to know that you're not a violent person, because if you were, I'd have to be looking out for you. So your comments on the artificial intelligence?
Yeah, when you started talking about it, I've got my head in the sand because it scares the hell out of me. But I just wanted just to be honest. Your album, and I love you, but your album lacks soul, and it just doesn't. It doesn't fit the character and charisma and energy of your show, which is original. And that's what I think. And also, I love the Great Impression song, even if that's AI. The advertisement.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I like that. It's incongruous because it doesn't. When I hear that song, I think about maybe a salon, but I find out it's like they print. If you have a barbecue or a birthday party, they print the program or something. But I still like the song because it's weird in ways that AI will never. Well, I don't know. Again, my head's in the sand because it scares me. Have you ever seen Battlestar Galactica?
In 1983. Maybe.
No, it's a reboot. You got to see it. If you like sci-fi, boy, you're not going to sleep at night.
Oh, well, boy, let me watch that then. Good.
Well,
anything else you'd like to add?
Okay, that's it. And I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but also feelings are something that only humans can have. The AI can talk about them, but it doesn't have feelings. And that
I'm not
music
trying
is
to
nothing if not feelings.
I'm not dating AI. I don't need it to have feelings.
No,
I need it to be a very useful tool in things in which I may not be an expert in. It can provide a little bit of assistance. It's just like new and improved internet. It's basically Google 2.0. ChatGPT just gives you more detail than Google does, and the information is useful. And if it can provide, like if I need to fix a leaky faucet, going to ChatGPT and getting instructions is a lot more productive than going to Google. That's all it is. And if we can get out ahead of it, and if we can learn to grow and use it productively, I think personally it can be a great equalizer. That's just my opinion. Now, I could be wrong. And then maybe in 10 years I may eat my words, but I guess we'll just have to see.
Well, you're more of a visionary than I am. I think I might be, though I don't kill anything, I might be a little more conservative in my thinking about the future. And I can add one last thing about music. And I mean, music is not a useful tool. It's the expression of the soul. And AI has no soul. It's just collected a bunch of data. And, God, I hope I don't turn into that. What's that Unabomber fella? Because he was a Luddite. I know how to use a computer, but, boy, does this stuff scare me.
I think you'll be fine, Andy. You just make sure you don't step on any potato bugs and spiders. Let's talk to Hootie Who. Is that your name?
No, my name Woody Woo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Woody Woo.
It's all right. I'm sure. I'm trying to call you to sign you to Lucci, my man. I got $10 for the pre-order of the album, man.
Wait a minute. You want to sign me? Am I getting a?
I want to sign you over here, man. I want to collaborate because I'm telling you, man. You old, but you old, but you got something about you that still got the young get up. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
I don't know what it is about you, man. You old though. You old. But it's something about that young get up you got, man. I'm trying to sign you over here to Lucci Mob because ain't nobody doing it like Sherwin. I done came all the way back to Milwaukee to meet you, man. I got to see you one of these days before I leave. I ain't gonna lie. The album, and I'm trying to put the money down. How can I get the album and hear the whole thing? Because I listen to you every day. And the snippets you give me, ain't nobody messing with you. These old cats ain't gonna understand because they ain't got no young get up like you, Sherwin. They gonna get on here and say, it doesn't have soul. How don't have soul when the person that put the information in has soul? How your music ain't got soul, Sherwin, when you got soul and you the one helped AI to make it?
Exactly.
They hating on you, brother.
They hating on me.
I'm Lucci Mob on the phone. Woody Woo, we trying to sign Sherwin, you know what I'm saying? I need you over here, you know what I'm saying, so we can get people back in function. Because what you doing is teaching old people how to use the AI in good ways. You see how a person always gonna be scared of something they don't understand.
I got to feel you're actually serious, aren't you? Like, you're for real.
Man, if you really did that album like you said and you ain't playing, that album is amazing. I thought one of your grandkids made it or something. I'm like, Sherwin ain't this hit. Sherwin ain't never been this hit.
I don't got no grandkids.
Man, I don't know, man. You be going to the Boys and Girls Club. You be hooking up with somebody at the Running Rebels. I ain't gonna lie. You do that album is amazing, man. Blue Magic is gonna bring blues back, man. They gonna have. I need you to come over here to Lucci Mob. You know what I'm saying? So we can go ahead and get this running, man. I got the money behind it. Can we buy an album? I'll buy the first album, man. How much you selling it for?
Hold on, everybody relax. Calm down. I have not yet decided what I'm going to do with it yet, but I think that there might be an opportunity for us to speak further. And this Lucci Mob, which you're referencing, I like the sound of that. I want to be a Lucci Mob till I die.
So and it's nothing bad. Remember, Lucci Mob mean money. We money mob. We just Lucci mean money.
Why don't we do this? I'm going to put you on hold, and my producer is going to take down your information, and we'll talk about a collab.
Thank you, sir. See, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, hold on. Well. What is it? Do people know who that person is? Do they people? Ha. How you like them apples?
They may recognize his voice.
He was very complimentary. You know, at least somebody respects my talent. As a former DJ, now music producer, distributor, executive producer, I got a record label. I have all of those things. Whose side are you guys on? Can you give Mr. Woody Woo's number? Thank you. I'm going to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships and building out your dream. And then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Sherwin Hughes with his Truth.
Most people don't know that a county executive is a higher elected position than a mayor. Most people don't know what a state assembly representative does, a state senator, nor their function in overall state government. Most people, in fact, don't know what a school board representative actually does. Ask a person who their county board supervisor is, and they'll likely shrug their shoulders. Also, most people don't vote. We're in for a world of hurt. If we don't know the functions of our government at the very basic level, then we are not nearly equipped for what is going to happen to this nation for the next 4 years. All they had to do was tell unsophisticated folks gas prices are too high, inflation is too high, bacon and eggs cost too much. It's this guy's fault. It's this party's fault. Vote for us. Don't think about the criminal prosecutions. Don't think about all the malfeasance. Don't think about all of the misconduct and the corruption. We're going to make your bacon cheaper. We're going to make your eggs cheaper. We're also going to gut the FBI. We're also going to gut anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're going to shred this nation from the top to the bottom, all in favor of a handful of folks. How about this? Let's tell people that immigrants are actually the problem. And then Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk will bring in the most highly trained immigrants this nation has ever seen. Why? Because Americans are none the wiser. Don't believe me? Look at public school children's performance, not just in Milwaukee, not just in Wisconsin, but nationwide. Get ready for a long ride, ladies and gentlemen. A very long ride.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I'm feeling really encouraged right now. I might show up on Monday with a Lucci Mob t-shirt on. Unless he's trying to recruit me like Drewski. What's Drewski's record label called? Could Have Been Records. All right. Truth Nation. The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra is showcasing its Let's Groove tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound, May 23rd through May 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Byron Stripling is taking the lead with a killer lineup of vocalists, including Broadway star Chester Gregory, Ashley J, and Brick Liam. They're bringing you iconic hits from legends like Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Lou Rawls, and The Temptations. Don't wait. Grab your tickets right now by calling 414-291-7605. That is 414-291-7605. Or you can visit them online to buy your tickets at mso.org. Right now, I'll take caller number 5. You are going to get a pair of tickets to Motown and the Philly Sound, taking place between May 23rd and May 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. A pair of tickets goes to caller number 5 at 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. You know, at some point, when you call and you win things, you might even get a free copy of my album. I don't know yet. I got to talk to my record label. I don't know if I'm permitted to do that. I don't want this to be a slight to anyone that makes music the old-fashioned way, because I don't want to take anything away from their creative talents. But I know that a lot of really good artists, their music never comes to fruition because you need an investment to make an album. And a lot of times, if there's someone who is willing to invest in the studio time and the production time and the editing and the mixing and clearing samples and doing all that stuff, if you don't have somebody to invest in you, it'll be very, very tough, to say the least. And sometimes really talented artists will never hear about them, what artificial intelligence can do. And so when you guys say, oh, it has no soul, you can inseminate your prompts with the soul that you want to have permeating your music. So when I use AI, I give it a description that it can put words together better than me, because it can have a creativity and bring in concepts that I only would have alluded to, right? So as artists grow, like listen to someone who's got like an anthology of music, right? And you listen to some of their early stuff, and then listen to some of their later, more sophisticated, more mature music. You can hear somebody grow as an artist, and a lot of times their early lyrics and on some of their first productions and their singles and their albums, it matures. So listening to somebody's first album and listening to, their 25-year anniversary album, you hear a dramatic difference in the maturity of that artist, right? AI can mature your music from song to song. That's what's so incredible about it. Now, is it shortcutting? Of course it is. But is it democratizing something that has been kept out of the hands of people because it's cost prohibitive? I don't know what it costs to make an album. And if I did know the cost, I'm assuring you it is too much. And then you got to get it distributed. How are you going to get it to the people? There's fees associated with that. AI allows you to do all that stuff, and you don't even need to get samples cleared. I'm over here justifying the downfall of music creation. It's just a tool. That's all it is. And I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. It allows me to express my thoughts and feelings in a new way. I got my progress up here, the stuff that I'm working on. I got like 3 different genres of music. Should I preview? You guys want to hear a little? I have like you only want to hear hip hop. That I can't do that yet. The only hip hop that I'm allowing anybody to hear early are my 2 intros. There's some other things that I don't want. Well, I don't know why. Who's it? What's going on out there, Zach? Let's talk to Eddie. Zach just distracted me with something he saw in the window. The Truth welcomes you, Eddie. Eddie, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you? Eddie, why can't we hear Eddie? There we go.
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. I want to agree with what the Luciano said, or Lupi, whatever his name was, it's just called. I think people got too much hookup on, like, because you get a certain age, you got to act old and whatever. And what you're doing is you taking a creative idea and expanding it, and I think that's good. That's not stepping on anybody's toes or whatever. And just think about some of these rappers, how they made money. Lil Jon got rich for just yelling, yeah. Who would ever think? And then some of these rappers, they stick it in the booty, do this, do that, over and over, and they're making money. So I think it's a good thing what you're doing, and I think your producer was saying earlier about your legacy with some of the people that you interview. You can incorporate them into this AI, and they can still mention these people's names and stuff like that. So I think you're taking a new route at achieving something that's good, and I'm just wondering if some of your co-workers are going to follow your footsteps pretty soon, because it's different. That's the thing, it's different. There's nothing wrong with being different. So I think you just keep going. I hope the Luciano guy is serious, and who knows where it goes. It might be something to what you're doing. If a person can make money saying yeah all through a song, I'm quite sure you can do something with AI and make some money.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate your thoughtful words and your support. I'm not doing this to make money. I don't expect to make any money off of this. Now, somebody wants to pay me, that's different. You want to sign me to a record label? Well, I'll entertain an offer, but I'm not doing anything to make money. I'm having fun. Let's see who we got here. Let's talk to James. James, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, Sherwin. How are you?
I'm doing okay. What's on your mind, James?
I was calling in for those tickets to the symphony.
I think we already.
Next caller up?
No, we already got our caller number 5, but I am going to give away another pair of tickets. Tell you what, you can be caller number 1 because I'm going to give away another set. So I'll do caller number 5 again. So just hang up and call back, and maybe you'll be caller number 5.
Okay. All right, Sherwin. Thank you. And congrats on your AI music, man. It's pretty nice stuff. I like that.
Thank you. Oh, look at the support and the love I'm getting. Thank you, James. Guess what? Now you're caller number 1 and 2. All right. Thank you, James. Call back and try to win some tickets. I'm really looking forward to this show because I'm going to be there as well. Motown and the Philly Sound. Let's groove tonight, May 23rd through May 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Byron Stripling is taking the lead with a killer lineup of vocalists, including Broadway star Chester Gregory, Ashley J., and Brick Liam. They're bringing you iconic hits from legends like Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Lou Rawls, and The Temptations. Don't wait. Grab your tickets now before they sell out by calling 414-291-7605 or visit them at mso.org. Right now, I'll take call number 5 again. Give away a pair of tickets to Let's Groove tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound, taking place next weekend at the Bradley Symphony Center. Remember, if you don't win, you can go and get tickets at mso.org or by calling 414-291-7605. Call number 5 gets a pair of tickets to Let's Groove tonight. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 101.7 The Truth's Black Business Give Back Spotlight this Friday at 3:57 p.m. between The Tory Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be joined by India Guster, owner of Royal Street MKE. We'll discuss their freshly remodeled business, her journey as an entrepreneur, and, of course, the delicious food and signature drinks all first-timers have to try. Again, that's the Black Business Give Back Spotlight with Royal Street MKE this Friday at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Experience some of the most cherished popular music of all time when the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra presents Let's Groove Tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound, May 23rd through the 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Byron Stripling will lead the MSO and an exciting trio of vocalists that include Broadway superstar Chester Gregory, Ashley J., and Brick Liam in a musical sojourn of hits made famous by legendary talents such as Lou Rawls, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and The Temptations. Songs like My Girl, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and I'm Coming Out will come alive in fun and stylish arrangements that are sure to have you dancing and humming along in your seat. Let's Groove Tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound runs May 23rd through the 25th only. So lock up your tickets right now by calling the box office at 414-291-7605 or visit mso.org.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy, where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the uncommon coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's a different kind of Jones. Walking home, I feel the breeze. Your love brings me to my knees. Why did you ever leave? Come back to me, baby, please, please. It's a different kind of Jones. A different kind of Jones. Don't leave me all alone. I keep checking my phone, hoping that you called. Summer turns to fall. You're making my heart stall. I've just hit a wall. It's a different kind of Jones. A different kind of Jones. Don't leave me alone. It's a different kind of Jones. I see a ghost in the morning rain. is a different kind of Jones.
So, for those of you asking who that was, that's me. That was an AI-generated song, too. I think it's actually beautiful. Now, I got several different versions of it. There's going to be a remix. There's going to be a remaster. But I think the basic bones of a melancholy pop hit are there. Oh, wait till you hear the country music. I was just talking to Zach about that. Why do you think Beyonce made a country album? Do you really think she is that much of a fan of country music? It is an expanding and an exploding genre of music. So if you have the opportunity to explore different types of music, because music is universal, is it not? Then why wouldn't you do it? And if you can do it in the comfort of your own home, in your underwear, well then, why not? So there will likely be more creations coming your way. And here's the thing. I'll play this stuff for you guys because you all are the most honest people I know. Because if you hate something, you'll let me know immediately. Y'all are worse than Showtime at the Apollo. In fact, The Town, when he called earlier, he called not necessarily to comment on the topic, but to tell me that my version 2.0 of my intro was trash. And I disagree, but I appreciate his opinion. Apparently, the intros that I played two different ones. I played one yesterday, and then I played a different version today. They've gotten some mixed reviews. And, of course, I love my original intro as well because it's like it's a history of some of the people that I interviewed at various radio stations, and it also gives, I think, a good foundation for the kinds of things that we talk about. So if you're unfamiliar with me and my program, if you hear my intro, you get an idea of some of the people that we have talked to and some of the topics that we discuss. But also, those days are over. Media is moving in a different direction. Radio is moving in a different direction. And I need to be on top of the times, to say the least. And look, would I love to keep, that intro and archive it? Yeah, absolutely. But also think that as I continue to grow and progress and learn more and become much more mature in my information delivery, I want the technology that I use to also keep up with that progress. So I'm going to have an interesting and productive weekend. Who knows what I'm going to come up with, but I assure you that I will keep you guys posted. Good Life said, turn it up. And so, it was fire? They sent a fire emoji. Stacy says, will AI take out real music producers? No. I think that there will always be a need for actual trained, educated, experienced producers. What AI can do is allow someone to try their hand at music production that otherwise wouldn't have had access to a studio. And it's about access, right? Because everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has a computer. Most people have some kind of access to the internet. Some people can't afford studio time. It's very expensive. Or they don't have access or don't have transportation to get to an actual studio. But if they can use their home computer or use their smartphone, then I think that it democratizes something that otherwise would have been out of reach. But I think there's always going to be a need. Like, AI can paint a picture, but you're always going to need a Picasso. It'll be able to do a lot of things, but I don't think there's anything that can quite compare to human craftsmanship. But the thing about music, there's so many different genres of music, and AI can be equally as creative as the human brain because it's the human brain that's giving it the inputs. But there's always going to be a need and a demand for actual people and real craftsmen. Now, there are ways in which I think artificial intelligence can be a hell of a lot better than people, and in some regards, it should replace people. When it comes to prescribing medication or performing surgeries, I think artificial intelligence, when it's connected to those robot arms, because they can do remote surgeries, I think it can eliminate human error and ultimately benefit all of us, because in human error in medicine, people lose their lives. And so if computer technology can save more lives, well, then, of course, I'm all for it. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great weekend. Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace is up next.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.